Okay, hey again, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick follow-up video to my Hornady Auto Charge Pro versus RCBS Chargemaster Lite comparison video that I released last week. Since then, I've played around with the Hornady just a little bit more and have kind of got to know it a little bit better, and I think I've got a few little workarounds for some of the problems that I didn't like. If you remember, one of the things I really complained about was the round count feature. Um, let's let it dispense a charge here. Um, it was the round count feature that would always stay on the display after a charge was thrown. So, well, it turns out, and I sort of can't remember how I stumbled upon this, but I was just doing like I do and just push every button on the thing to figure out what happens. So as you can see, that will never go away unless you were to lift the pan up and set it back down on the scale. But I accidentally found out that if you just hit the dispense button again, it will go back to the and show you the charge that was sitting on the scale. So that's that really helps work around the aggravation of the round count feature. It's still there, but at least you don't have to do something as tedious as try to lift the scale up, sit it back down, and go through all that rigmarole to just to see if you've got an overcharge waiting on you there to throw. And I had some folks also leave some comments in that video. They would like me to program in about 44.1 on the Auto Charge Pro and see if that made it agree with my beam scales a little bit better. So again, you see what it's done right there. Now in my previous video, the only way I knew to get around it was to lift the pan up and sit it back down. But you can just hit the dispense button again. Oh, and look at that. It had 44. It had thrown just a little bit over. So anyway, so let's try entering in 44.1. So there it is. And then you hit enter. And I'm just going to zero it again just because it was being a little wonky. If you look on my computer screen up here, I have those same 44 grain check weights in my pan, and I've actually not even touched those scales. They held their zero and everything. So I'm on a right there's the same check weights that you saw me use in the other video. So let me set them out of the pan over here. Now we'll go ahead and let that thing be dispensing. So got the empty pan sitting on there now, just waiting for the auto charge to give us another charged away. Alright, so there it said 44.1. I'm going to hit the dispense button one more time just to confirm that. Alright, let's see if it agrees with the beam scales a little bit better at 44.1. I sort of feel like it may. Yeah, that's not bad. That's maybe, gosh, maybe a half a kernel heavy. Maybe. If I took a kernel out, I think it would make it read lighter than that. But you know, why not just do that? So let me pick a kernel. Yep, got one kernel there. All right, let's see what it weighs now. Sure enough, ain't that crazy? And that's my breath moving it right there. It was about a kernel light, but it's still not quite centered. So really, if you could have split a kernel, that would have been what it needed on that charge, really. But okay, got one more waiting on us there at 44.1. So let's weigh it, and that'll pretty much be it, I think. Same deal there. Maybe a kernel heavy. So it's probably just in between weights. It's really hard to get two scales to weigh or dispense or even weigh really just perfectly together. So, but that really doesn't matter. If this is your set of scales, this is what you're going to be creating all your loads by, and everything is fine. So I wouldn't be worried about that at all. So let's, yep, still at 44.1. That time it's dead on. So I think the scales in the Hornady are pretty good. You know, that ain't bad right there. I'm impressed. Um, because really on these dispensers, where it's at is how well they trickle and how consistently they trickle. Because you can dispense a bunch of powder. You know, about any dispenser could dispense a bunch of powder in a short amount of time, and that's no problem. It's how well it trickles in very small amounts of powder that really set one apart from the other, at least from what I've seen, and also how good the scale is. That one is maybe 2 kernels heavy. So let's see. There's one. Actually, yeah, there. I got 2 out. One fell out there on me, and I put it back in. So I took 2 kernels out, and that's looking to be what it needed right there. So there you go. There's a little tip and a trick on the dispense button deal, so you don't actually have to lift the pan up. You can just hit that to see if you have bumped it. Again, that's not the ideal thing. It's not how I wished it were, but you know, at this time it's the only workaround that I know of. And I have called Hornady and asked them if there was a way to disable the round count feature, and they told me that there was not, or at least they haven't figured it out yet if there were. So hopefully, maybe, you know, when they make another production run of them or something, maybe they'll change the programming around enough to where you can get rid of that. Boy, it would sure thrill me if they just throw it out the window altogether, because again, I absolutely hate round count features on powder dispensers. But anyway, I don't think I have to say it again for y'all to know how I really feel about it. Well, thanks for watching again. Hopefully this helps. So if you're in the market for a Hornady Auto Charge Pro, I think it's a great dispenser. Scales are very accurate, and it's fast. And if it weren't, I think it would probably be one of the best all-around, you know, dispensers if it were not for that dang round count feature always just cluttering up the screen. So, yeah. Thanks again for watching.